Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new Western, The Unholy Trinity, and this is coming from a script from Lee Zachariah and director Richard Gray. And this film focuses on the story of Henry Broadway, played by Brandon Lezer, and here we have buried secrets of a 1870s Montana town spark violence with a young man who returns to claim his legacy and is caught between a sheriff determined to maintain order and a mysterious stranger hell-bent on destroying it. And you have Henry Broadway, Leser's character. Henry doesn't have a whole ton of depth. He's a pretty bland, pretty innocent kind of protagonist that's more of like he's being molded throughout the film by like these two influential figures. And, you know, he's a solid fixture at the center of the film. And you have this very intense opening sequence where he sees his father about to be hanged, and it sets up like, this sheriff framed me for this, get vengeance. And this moment thematically sets up so much of this film because it puts us on this course of vengeance. And violence begets violence, vengeance begets vengeance, and it makes a vicious cycle. And classic Western kind of themes, this film leans into that. It leans into that dichotomy of law and order versus chaos and that outlaw perspective. Pierce Brosnan, who's the new sheriff of this town, is very regal and refined with like his mustache and everything and his Irish accent. He has great presence. He has a subtlety to his strength. And then this scruffy-looking outlaw, played by Samuel L. Jackson, who brings plenty of personality. He doesn't, like, turn it way up, because this film is very dour. It's very grim. It's gritty. It has that kind of Western feel, and I think Jackson steps it back a bit so that he still stands out, but fits within what feels right for this film. And it's interesting, you know, seeing Henry being influenced by both of these men and their perspectives, and that's a core piece to the story that I think works. Now, there's too much going on here. There's this Native American woman on the run. There's this murder of a sex worker. There's a buried treasure. There's multiple revenge plots and all of these layers. This film is only like 94 minutes, and it crams so much into it. This could have been weeded out, leaned down, and I think the film would have felt less convoluted, give more space to these characters who are really the core of the film, and give them a little bit of space to grow. Honestly, flesh Henry out a little bit more, since he's kind of a blank slate. I think this film is shot well. I think Gray goes for that right kind of grim and dour and gritty kind of feel. Thomas Scott Stanton does a fine job of bringing that to life through the cinematography. I think the score from Marco and Tristan Beltrami is one of the more interesting standout elements of the film. It brings a lot of personality. It sparks at moments. I think Veronica Ferris, who is the wife to Pierce Brosnan's sheriff, is an interesting character that stands out. You have the likes of like David Arquette who pops up and others. There's just a lot of moving pieces here. And it has some moments of, inspired camera work in the action. And it has some thrilling spurts of action. There's like two big moments where there's like really some like standout action in the film. Overall, though, I think this film is a rock-solid, enjoyable Western that leans more heavily into what you expect out of a Western, some classic kind of tropes and themes. It's a little too convoluted for it to really stand out and really focus and add some depth. And I think Pierce Brosnan and Samuel L. Jackson kind of elevate this experience. And, you know, a not-so-interesting protagonist at least gets the support of some strong veteran presence in the film. And this isn't going to win over new fans to Westerns, but if you are a fan of Westerns, I think this scratches that itch in a time where we don't get many of them. But those are my thoughts on the Unholy Trinity. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.